What's going on, steppers? Today we're going to talk about the difference between hard money and private money, and we're going to go over 3 real-world examples of hard money and private money, and you're going to have to decide, is that example hard money or private money that's funding the example, all right? So let's break it down. First off, what is hard money versus private money, right? Now, when you're dealing with actual hard money and private money, you basically are dealing with the same thing. Now, the main differences between hard money and private money is that your hard money is actually coming from an institution, right? So you gotta think about it like this. You gotta make sure you got that right amount of cereal. So your hard money is coming from someone who's collected money from other individuals, right? Now, in order to really understand that, we have to understand private money. You saw last week's episode or 2 weeks ago, we broke down private money pretty in depth. But when it comes to private money, you're getting it from a private individual, a private person, right? So that means me, if I'm looking for a private money lender, I'm actually getting it from a person. Whereas if I'm looking for a hard money lender, I'm more than most likely getting it from an organization who gets their money from private money lenders, from individuals. So both of these things are basically still funding private money, but it's just about how it comes. But the essential basis of both of them are the same. And what are the essential points? Well, that's going to be the time frame, right? So there's going to be a certain amount of time frame that comes with when you have to pay your money back. And then next, you're going to have your interest, right? So whatever your interest rate may be, I got to make the perfect balance with my milk. You got to have your interest rate. So whatever that interest rate comes with, that'll be the same pretty much in both scenarios. And then your last point is going to be your origination fees, right? So what are origination fees? Well, origination fees, they're going to be when say if I borrow $10,000 from you, right? So if I get $10,000 from you, you watching this, I get $10,000. Let's say you charge me a 3% origination fee or basis points or points. Now, for those are basically 3 ways of saying the same exact thing, right? And that means that in order for me to get the $10,000 from you, first I have to pay you $300. So in order for me to get $10,000, I got to pay you $300. That's basically what an origination fee is. It what starts the loan out, right? So before, it's the upfront money that it costs to actually get the money in your pocket, if that makes sense. It should. It's really not that difficult, right? Now, the more serious part about this is, do you like your cereal soggy or do you like it hard? Personally, I like mine soggy. You know what I'm saying? I like to make sure it's all nice and wet and soft. But we got some time to get there. So real quick, today we're going to go over, like I said, 3 examples. I want to take you guys outside once I finish this cereal. I'm going to take you outside to go over the first example, and then we're going to go over the last 2. We're going to wrap them up. The last one wrap up in here, and the other one is going to be online. Now, on each of these examples, I just want you guys to pay attention and think about, based off the criteria that I just gave you, about the difference between private money and hard money. Remember, the only difference is private money comes from a private person, whereas the hard money comes from an actual company. So they all work within those same 3 criteria. The only main difference is your private money, they have the possibility of being more lenient or more flexible with their terms, right? Being the origination fees, maybe they don't charge you any origination fees. Being the annual interest rate, your interest rate may be shorter. Being the time frame could be longer for you to have to pay back the loan. The reason why is because the hard money, they're dealing with other people's money, so they have to get their money back, and also they're a company, so there may be more people coming to them because, at the end of the day, the way they make money is by keeping their money in motion. The same with the private individual as well, but the private individual is more of a relationship base, right? So they might like you, so they're lending you money because they like you, right? They believe in you, they trust you. They don't just look at everybody and just be like, I'm going to lend money and lend money and lend money. The main thing I want you guys to take note here is that, as you will see, this goes beyond the realms of real estate, right? So we're going to go over that today. You're going to see that in a second. But let me finish this cereal, but just understand that this goes beyond real estate. Private money and hard money is really in every industry, for real. All right.
Man, I woke up in a great mood. One thing that you can't do is let the hate affect you. Man, I woke up in a great mood. Went and bought some new shoes, matching with my new boo. Man, I woke up in a great mood. One thing that you can't do is let the hate affect you. They'll try to depress you, don't wanna hear your bad news. Vibrating at the different tune, think of what you can do. Man, I woke up in a great mood.
What's up, steppers? So the first example is right here. It's called 6th and Rio on Riverwalk, Las Olas. So there's this huge thing right here. I'm going to take you guys more into the lot so you can actually see what the lot looks like. But it's right here on Las Olas Riverwalk, and it's financed, if you look in your top right corner, by NW, and that NW is New Wave Loans. So let me take you into it. So if you guys, you see the actual, my bad, you see the actual project here, this is what it's gonna look like. I'll take you up top. This is how big the space is, huge. As you can see, it's right here on Las Olas Riverwalk, and you hear the people out there. If you like it, you should put a ring on it. That's what the ladies out there letting them know. They getting busy out there. But anyway, it's right here in the heart of Las Olas, right? So this is the first example. People out here with their dogs. It's gonna be a beautiful community. So I was actually walking past this the other day, and that's what sparked this whole video, is when I saw this. Financed by New Wave Loans. At first I thought it said NW. So anyway, let's take a look at New Wave Loans so we can see more and figure out more about what they offer, so we can figure out if they're private money or hard money. All right, so let's take a look deeper inside of it. All right, so guys, now we're here on New Wave Loan site, and let's take a look at who they are. They're hard money lenders in Florida, a private lender for commercial and residential real estate investors. Over 1.1 billion in successful loans over the past 4 years. Finance your investment is what you can do. Custom solutions, direct relationships, simplified process. Here's where we want to go. Well, we can go here, FAQs. So, what are your loan requirements? First and most importantly, we only make first lien loans, no exceptions. Our goal is to offer the lowest rate and points that we can, while always making sure that our risk of default is low. We do not undertake to enter into loan-to-own transactions. However, in all cases, we underwrite each of our loans and stress our models so that if the underlying real estate collateral has to be sold to pay us back, we are comfortable that we will recoup 100% of our capital, including costs. This underwriting philosophy typically means that we do not lend on more than 65% of the value of the real estate collateral being pledged. We also require personal guarantees. Basically, if you can't or won't go to a local bank for a loan and you are looking for a 65% loan of value or less, we believe we are the best deal in town. So guys, just in that one, you can see there's a whole bunch of questions, right? Like a whole bunch of things that you have to answer. But I feel like in there, you should understand what kind of, specifically just with the whole model you should get, whether they're a hard money lender or a private money lender. Now you may be thinking, it does say private money. Remember that they're both are private money, right? Because you're not getting it from an actual bank. However, they are clear distinctions between what's hard money and what's private money. Now let's check out some of their portfolio, right? And here we go. So you can see this is some of the stuff that they've lended on. Broward County, Palm Beach County, 17K closed square single family home sales, average single family home. So these guys, they're lending single family and commercial, right? So they're doing, your 3-bed, 1 baths, and also what you just saw out there. So they're doing the whole 9, right? This is their actual portfolio. So $32 million loan, a $27 million, $25 million, $9 million loan, 11.5. When I first saw this, I thought this was the, but it's actually not. But this loan was provided for the purchase of a spectacular waterfront lot. Transaction closed in 4 days. So it looks like Las Olas, but it's not. But either way, you guys, you can see that they're doing commercial real estate, right? And ultimately, that's where we want to be at, right? Commercial real estate, mixed-use buildings, that's what we're in it for. But as you can see, you still want to have some money to the table, right? You got to bring some money to the table, but they are your people if you're not trying to go out to an actual bank, right? So remember, if you guys recall the first episode, I showed you in the actual terms that I signed with my private money lender. That was a private money lender. If you want to reference it, it's the first episode. But those terms that I signed, it said that if, for whatever reason, if I could not pay my private money lender back, then they were able to, I would have to sell any other properties that I own to pay them back. Now, one thing that you notice in that FAQ, which is why I did that one, there's a bunch of other questions that's on here. But for the loan requirements, as you can see, It speaks about basically they're lending on 65% of the value because they want to make sure that if they can get all of their money back, right? So if they lended 100% of it, then they feel like they couldn't get all of their money back, right? So if they lended on 65%, they'll be able to get their money back just in case you don't finish the property, just in case you don't, rehab it all the way, whatever the case may be, they're able to get their money back just by selling the deal. This is why I said real estate is the safest private money investment, right? No matter across the board, no matter if you look at, stocks, no matter if you look at actual, even, music careers, there's a whole bunch of things that you guys can do. No matter if you look at even businesses, right? Beyond music, actual businesses that people take out loans for to get their business started. Real estate is a business. The actual property, the land itself is the business, which means that your money is actually, you have the equity built up in the actual asset itself, in the transaction itself, which means that this person can't run away, even if you're doing a business loan, which you'll see later. They can't just run away and spend that money on anything. That's not the case here with real estate, right? The money is in the asset itself, so they're always able to get your money out of it. As a private money lender, you watching this, hard money lender, you're always able to get your money out of real estate. That's the great part, especially depending on what value that you decide to lend at. You can always get your money back no matter if they finish the project or if they do not finish the project. You have your money tied up in the actual property itself, and you give the money to the closing company. You're not giving it to that investor, even though if you do, an investor watching this, the only thing you have in this investment game is your reputation, is your name. So that means you want to be, build up a good name. That way people like lending to you. If they like, hey, D'Angelo coming with a deal, let me give him some money. You know what I'm saying? He coming with a deal, let me give him some money. I know I'm about to get my money back. That's what you want to build up your idea towards. That's what you want to build up your reputation towards. When this person comes and asks for me for money, it's a great deal. They're getting it back within that time frame, and I'm always, get my money back at the end of the day. All right. Now that you've taken a deeper look inside New Wave Loans, you have an idea about what they're about, so you can now guess whether they're hard money or private money. We'll unveil all of them at the end, but now I want you guys to take a look at a couple of videos while I break this thing down. I'm gonna turn you guys here. Let's see if we can get a beautiful view. I'll turn you guys right here, and I just want you to take a look at some of these videos, and give me 1 second, guys. I got a call.
People have been asking me about using business credit and getting business loans for their record companies. And let me break this question down because the person asked this. Listen, I have my LLC, my digital distributor, and even my EIN. What's the next step so I can get funding? Is it establish my LLC with a bank to get a loan, or what? I've been paying for everything out of pocket so far. Here's my thing. See, art is not a commodity. Art is very volatile. The thing about the record industry and the publishing industry is if your business doesn't have a history, many banks won't give you a loan on this volatile type of business. Last thing that many people don't understand about the music business is they don't know how the money flows, and it does take a while for the money to come in. And remember, you got to keep paying this loan back every month. I would suggest having a serious strategy in place and a proof of income and a proof that your business is profitable before seeking the loan and the credit. Okay, if you make music, you should make money, but you definitely shouldn't rush into a business loan. Follow for more music business tips.
With BeatBread, artists have the freedom to customize their advance to fit what deal terms works best for them. With our deal customization tools, artists can choose whether they, 1, want to leverage just their catalog or both catalog and new music, 2, how long their deal will last, and 3, how much income they keep during those term lengths. There's literally hundreds of deal structures that artists can choose from, and we will never tell an artist which deal they have to take. It's just one more way we're leaving control exactly where it belongs, with you, the artist.
I'm gonna break it down more, but right now I just want you to think, does it sound like hard money or does it sound like private money? Based off everything you just saw right there. We'll break it down more, but just think about that right there. All right.
How does BeatBread come up with your advance offer? And can you negotiate? Our advanced machine learning AI algorithm took literally billions of data points to make predictions about your future streaming income. This technology is designed to build you the deal that grants you the most money with the best chance of recouping within your chosen term. Our data science team backtested this algorithm more than 30,000 times before we launched 2 years ago. BeatBread is 100% data-driven, which means we only make advances based on our algorithm, and we do not negotiate offers.
All right, guys. So we just heard the Beat Bread associate. He explained the actual business model of Beat Bread and what they're offering. But you probably can kind of decode what he said in there to figure out if they're hard money or private money. But let's take a look at their actual website. So this is the website, right? So we want to take a look to the meat and the potatoes. Now, get funding, stay in control. That's the main thing, stay in control, right? So get an advance up to 8 times your annual streaming income, and these are other things. Now, here is the interesting part. How does Beat Bread funding work? Enter your artist name, customize funding, share distribution reports, finalize terms and sign, then get funded. Now check this out. You are in control. We only share in streaming and sound exchange. Our royalties are higher. The amount you owe will never go up. You retain ownership. So what they're explaining right here, especially right here, not physical sales or merch, not sync or publishing, not touring either. So they're trying to distinguish themselves from being a record company. Now remember, anytime you're dealing in music, you're always dealing with private money, right? Because you're not going to the actual bank. Now the record label, they're not even a bank. They're like 10 times more, I guess you can say more predatory than a bank, right? Because when I say predatory, it means that they're actually taking the ownership, right? So this is why they're trying to distinguish themselves right here. Here. After you recoup and the term is up, you keep 100% of the income. Our deals aren't forever. There's another thing. Labels take about 80%, leaving you 20% with us. You get the lion's share of the revenue, and you're able to maintain ownership. They speak about that in here as well. But you being able to maintain ownership while you're basically in a royalty split. So you're just splitting the royalties, but you still own everything that you're doing, and you're not in a 360, which means that they're only taking money from the music itself and they're not taking money from other parts. Now, the thing about 360 deals, guys, they're not that bad. Like, I don't personally think 360 deals are bad, just from everything that I've looked at, right? When I say I don't think they're bad, it's because when you do a 360 deal, it allows you the chance to recoup faster as the artist, right? As an artist, you can do merch, you can do touring, you can make everything where it comes to, say you get $100,000 or $500,000 or $1 million, right? Let's go with $1 million. You get $1 million from a record company, only a certain part is going to be used as, your quote unquote, just pure advance money. Then you're going to have a recording budget and other type of budgets, right? But this being said, you have to pay back the whole $1 million. Now, if you're just paying back that whole $1 million based off of YouTube streams or based off Spotify streams or anything, like if you're paying back $1 million based off just streams, you're going to be doing it a long time because you don't get paid that much for streaming. Remember, out of 1 million streams, you're getting paid like $12,000. I believe between like $8,000 and $12,000 from 1 million streams, right? You would think 1 million streams would make you a millionaire, but not ain't the case. 1 million streams, you get like $12,000. This being said, think about how many millions of streams you have to do, and you're still, the record label is only getting 80% at the most part of it, right? So you're getting 20%. So that means that it's not even the actual $12,000. It's more like $10,000 that the record label is getting. So this being said, that's a lot of streams that would have to take for you to actually recoup and start making money from your music. Whereas if you were to be in a position where you're able to do touring, your merchandise, and a whole bunch of other just brand divisions of your brand, basically, because you as an artist, you're a brand. So other divisions of your brand, if you're able to share that with your financial partner, then you'll actually recoup faster. But here with Beat Bread, they're different, right? So the reason that they're different, again, they just explain to you why. But also, let's go ahead and check out who can get funding from Beat Bread. This is where the kicker comes in. There are no hard lines that determine exactly which artists can and cannot get funding because there are so many factors that go into our algorithm. But artists who have released music on major DSPs and typically have as little as 10,000 and as many as 10 million monthly listeners are most likely to qualify for funding. Artists who have been within those ranges for more than a few months and who have more passionate and engaged fans inside and outside of streaming are more likely to qualify as well. All right, so this is everything you really need to know. Here's another one. What if you don't repay within the term? We won't add any balance to your advance if you are late, and we won't charge any interest or penalties, but they will collect. We'll collect until you are repaid and no longer. So they're gonna make sure they get their money back, right? That's what they're basically saying. So this being said, guys, with this whole setup, if you can imagine right here, you see, you can imagine whether they are actual private money or are they hard money. And looking right there, you should be able to decode exactly what they are. But this is beat bread for any of my musicians out there that's, trying to get funding or whatever the case may be. Then this is another opportunity with you. Remember, private money, it spans across every industry, guys. It's money at the end of the day, right? So there's people out there, there's steppers out there who they don't have the skills. They can't rap, they can't sing, they can't go and source real estate deals. They can't go out and start a business. They can't do those things, right? Whether they don't want to do them, maybe they just have some money that they are inherited and they're just able to invest. Or maybe they're in a case where they don't have the time to do it, right? Maybe they already have so much going on with their main business where they're just looking like, I got so much going on with my main business, but I have so much money on hand and I need to cut down these taxes a little bit, right? So at the end of the day, you're able to cut down some taxes by putting your money in motion, and then your money's being in motion. Now you're getting that residual income, and that residual income, for the most part, if you play everything, your business right, you can get a lot of tax breaks, not even some, but a lot of tax breaks, right? Because it's a difference when you're just holding on cash versus you being able to put that money to work. The government incentivizes us to put our money to work. This is where steppers come in on both sides of the scenario, right? The stepper that has the money there, sitting, trying to figure out what to do with it, and the stepper that knows what to do with it. We collide and we get to stepping. Okay, let's go into point number 3. All right, guys, so I'm about to go ahead and watch this one on my phone real quick and follow along.
Seller that I really hit it off with that started lending me money. So I'd start to combine, I would borrow the down payments and then use hard money for the other 85 or 90%, and then come into the deals with no money or very little out of pocket. And then I would pay everybody, hard money gets their interest rate. I'd pay my private lenders an interest rate.
Okay, so right there, let's go to unpack everything now. So right away, he said that he was asking his seller for money. So I get my private money and then I get my hard money. So he distinguishes it right there, right? Remember, there's going to be a more personal relationship with your private money lender. So this person that I hit it off with, the seller I hit it off with, right? So he hit it off with the seller. Now the seller is willing to loan him money. But now here's the kicker, right? Here's the thing. This is the thing you got to look out for. Remember in the first example. So this example right here is a combination of private money and hard money. But remember the first example? The first example was New Wave Loans. It was a company. So that being said, it's a hard money lender. You got it anytime you see a company. But another thing, right, when you're dealing with hard money lenders and all of these things, either time you're dealing with private money, it's a business for them as well. So they may only have so much money that they can lend you, right? There only may be so much that they can actually lend you out of their pocket. So what this guy was doing, remember that first example, New Wave Loans, they do 65% of loan to value, right? Which means that, if it's worth $100,000, they're going to lend up to $65,000 of it. It's a hot real estate market now, right? Real hot real estate market. What does that mean? Well, that means that maybe, just maybe, they may be in a position where they actually have to loan more, right? So they have to loan more than the 65%. Maybe you have to pay 75%. So what this guy is doing is that he's saying, hey, private or a hard money lender, give me your 65%. Give me that 65,000. And now instead of me coming to 10,000 to the table, right? Instead of me coming down with $10,000 to the table to actually close this deal out, I'm going to go get a private money lender as well. My private money lender is going to bring the extra $10,000 to the table. Now at this point, he's paying little to no money, right? And why is it little to no money? Well, because you have to most likely pay origination fees, especially when you're dealing with hard money lenders. So he's still going to come out of pocket his origination fee. And that's going to be a couple $100 between both of them. But it's not the entire $75,000, or it's not the entire $10,000 that the hard money lender will not cover. So now when he goes to cash out the deal, remember, all of their money is secured by the asset itself, which is a major difference, right? So all of their money that they were doing is secured by the asset itself. So that asset is all locked up in there. But when he goes to sell that property, now at the title company, they're going to disperse those funds, right? So the title company, they're going to give the hard money lender back whatever they're owed, plus whatever, and with the interest being paid each month, usually the interest is, but depending on how you got it set up, maybe the interest is just stacked on top of it, right? So that interest that you have just stacked on top of there, you have to go ahead and get that back. And then the same when it comes to your private money lender, you go ahead and give them their money back. So hard money, private money is paid at closing, which means this guy just came to the table with little to no money, and now he's closing the whole deal and everybody's getting paid. Now, first one is hard money. The last one is hard money and private money. So this leads us to the middle one, right? The middle one that was about music. Now, the thing that made this more intriguing is because it's like I explained to you guys, when you're dealing with outside of real estate, really, like anytime you're outside of real estate, and if you're dealing with like private investment firms or like asset firms, investment firms, like even like the hard money lenders, right? They have to follow all these codes and ethics and things like that, which means that they have to oblige by a stricter criteria in order to invest your money and protect your money, right? So this being said, they can't just go invest in anything. They have to oblige by this criteria that's set up by the laws of the land. Now, the thing that made our number 2 example in the music industry more interesting is because I showed you guys the first video with the Money Makeover Show by Casey Brown. Great, he gives great content. But this being said, his content right there, he explained why you don't want to go and get an actual business loan, right? Why you don't want to get a business loan for your music career. Number 1 reason is if you're not making money, then you have to pay on this loan every month, and you're just losing money every month, and you can't really predict when the money's going to come back around, because in music it takes cycles, especially if you're just paid off the music itself, just the music. Remember, it's a major difference between your other avenues of your brand, being merchandise, touring, all that. But if you're just waiting for the music money, it takes time for that money to come back in, especially when you're dealing with, the publishing and the sound recording, and through your DSPs like Apple Music, Spotify, all these things, it takes time. So this being said, you're going to be investing that money and losing a whole bunch of money, but you still have this overhead payment that you have to pay. So the alternative option that I showed you guys was the Beat Bread. Now, Beat Bread, you have to at least have 10,000 monthly listeners. So which made Beat Bread, well, first off, it is a hard money lender, right? And the thing that gave it away is because the algorithm. Remember, we have this algorithm, and our algorithm, like that's before you ever saw the website. If you just listened to his words, you could have sold it was an actual hard money lender for their company, and also they talked about an algorithm, which means that you're not investing with your heart, you're not investing with your spirit, you're not investing with what you think, right? Nah, we don't think over here. Nah, we ain't thinking nothing. Our investors need their money back. So how can our investors get their money back? Well, we got to be analytical about it. So this being said, with that analytical approach, they are hard money lenders. There's no personal relationships. They don't care how good your music is to you or your family or to your loved ones, or even if they like your music, they don't care. Is the music making money is all they care about. The music ain't making money, you can't get paid. Simple as that. So it makes it a lot more simpler, because when you're dealing with a company, it's black and white, right? When you're dealing with single individuals, humans, you're dealing with emotions. That being said, it becomes gray. It's not as simple. Now, this is a benefit, right? Depending on who you are, depending on what side of the spectrum, it is a benefit. So this being said, if you're in a scenario where you are looking to borrow from them, you're borrowing from a hard money lender who's not looking at you as, who you are as a person, looking at you as a number. You, music career person, whatever you're doing, can you get me my money back, right? And if I give you 1,000, can you pay it back? Versus if I give you 10,000, okay, you don't have 10,000 monthly listeners, but we do like your music. Well, I still can't give you money because you don't have 10,000 monthly listeners, which means you don't sit inside our parameters as a company. So that's something you would just want to consider. But what I thought that made it good, nonetheless, is because, like I said, with the record company, if you're going to take money from the record company, they're going to take your ownership, which means that even if you pay them back, in the most case, and it depends on like where you come off at too, guys. You got to realize all of this has to do with your negotiating, for one, and also just your leverage, right? So if you have some leverage, then maybe you're in a position where you can actually keep some ownership, right? Maybe if you want to do a whole 360 and you're like, hey, can I just keep some ownership? But I have these other different avenues of the brand that will pay off, that I'll be, getting a step in every time with it. Then you're able to pay off the loan faster and also retain some ownership because you're willing to give away a little bit more. That's what's ultimately, when you think about private money, when you think about finance, when you think about real estate, when you think about just business in general, it all is negotiable. And this is why even more that they're hard money lenders, but also they're your hard money lenders, because theirs wasn't negotiable at all. And sometimes when you're dealing with hard money lenders, they look at it like they got the upper hand, right? The reason why is because how many people got ideas in the world? A lot. A lot of people have ideas in the world, but how many people can fund those ideas? That's the difference. That's the correlation. So if you're a company stepping into this, an actual company, then you notice the whole broad spectrum of things. So you like, hey, you know what I'm saying? I got to do X, Y, and Z. I got to mess with this person because this person's going to give me my money back. I like you. but you might not give me my money back. So it's just a major difference, right? So you just think about that from a person that's being an investor. You got to decide what kind of investor do you want to be. Do you want to be a more analytical investor? Do you want to treat your investments like you are a hard money lender? Or do you want to do a more private money lending approach, which means that you're going to invest in things that you feel some type of connection to. You feel your heart's in it as well. So it gives you a clear distinction, but you have to actually make sure you make that distinction in order to really maximize your profits. Other than that, then you won't have any criteria that you can oblige by, right? So that way, at least you know if you're a private money lender and you're going to operate just as a private person, okay, what do I feel? Do I feel like this will go through? That's what you're going to be more likely focused on. What do I feel? What do I feel? If you're an actual company, you're going to be like, okay, I don't care about what I feel. Does it fit inside these parameters? These parameters. Can I make money from this? Yes or no? And not because I think I can, but because the numbers tell me I can. So that's the major difference, guys. And all together, to go back over it, number one, hard money. Number two is hard money. Another thing that gave it away, because it said investors and partners. Remember, hard money has investors, right? The same way you as an investor may be watching this and you're looking for a private money lender, well, there's a hard money person out there that owns a company, right? Because it's a company, it's a business. Their business structure. Now they're looking at other people to keep funding their business, because ultimately the people that run that business, that's how they get paid, by being able to find more people to invest into, right? Because that keeps their Remember, it's all about keeping the money in motion. That's all this is about. When it comes to private money, it's about keeping the money in motion. If you got a track record of success, people are going to want to invest in you because they know that you can keep their money in motion, which is it helps out more than just returns. If you're somebody that's interested in private money lending, you're not just in it to get rich from a return on your investment. No, you're in it because you have money to, for one, invest, right? Which means that when you're investing, you're taking a risk. So you have money to invest, but also you recognize the tax benefits and other incentives that are involved in it, just by being able to keep your money in motion and not having it sitting on the sidelines. This being said, find you somebody that can get you that money back and keep that money in motion, and just keep it in rain, baby. Make it rain, make it rain. As always, beautiful steppers, get the step in. This has been a dope episode. I like this. We, hit some different angles, went outside a little bit. I feel like we really got out here today. Anyway, this is part 4, and you know what happens at part 4, but I will see you guys again, of course. I really enjoy making these private money lending videos, so I'll be around. As always, get stepping.